It was a true honor, but also at the same time, very stressful.
Dick Dastardly's been around for 50 years. My job is just to get in there and not blow it.
Wow. You heard it here first, Comcast. Wow.
Hi everyone, it's David and I am hanging out here at home with the cast of Scoob. You can watch the movie right now with Xfinity Movie Premiere. I've got my Scooby snacks, I've got my laptop. Let's go. Hi, how you doing?
Hey David, how are you?
Great, how are you?
David.
I was struck within the first 5 minutes of the movie by the fact that Shaggy's real name is Norville and your real first name is Orville. Did you feel like a particular kinship with the character because of that?
It is really funny. When I heard that, it was a real "what are the chances" moment. I've never heard Orville as a first name. Have you? Is it?
No, this is not something I've ever heard of. No.
So when I heard that, I thought, oh, maybe, it was a fun connection.
Can you start out by telling me what your earliest memory of Scooby Doo or Dick Dastardly was?
Sure. Funnily enough, my earliest memory of Scooby Doo and Dick Dastardly are together because when I was a kid, there was a Saturday morning cartoon block on British TV for children. And obviously in those days, you couldn't record anything, so you had to be there. And I would rush downstairs, sit on the sofa and not move till it was over. And it was all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. So it was Scooby Doo and it was the Wacky Racers, which had Dick Dastardly and Muttley and also Penelope Pitstop, who was my earliest crush, and many others. So I've seen thousands of hours of them and, they probably repeated when I was a kid. So I was just so familiar with it that when I heard there was a movie in which those two worlds combined and I was being asked to be in it, it was just an embarrassment of riches. It's so firmly embedded in my history.
Ken, with all due respect to all the amazing characters you've played in the past, I think Dynomutt might be the coolest character you've ever played.
Wow, David, I really, really appreciate that. That means more to me than you know because my kids have echoed that as well.
Allow me to introduce you to Blue Falcon's large adult son, Brian.
They're just like, Dad, Dynamutt is just really cool. Kind of say, it's got some juice. It's got some baby energy. I'm an old man. I got that baby energy going. So, right, in joke between me and Kiersey. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
we just established that.
I don't know why.
No, under the bus much?
What? Baby energy, I don't even know.
Wow. You heard it here first, Comcast. Wow. Baby energy. No one's heard of it. It's so nice. But it really is nice to be somewhat heroic, which is a very, very rare opportunity for me to be a part of. So I would have been a part of the Scoob universe anyway. Seriously, I would have played wallpaper. I would have been fine with that. I really would. I would not have a problem. I'd be that baby energy wallpaper that would be in the background. But it was really nice to have some character with authority and to use my actual voice, which is kind of rare. So thank you. No, I appreciate that, brother.
Paul Winchell did the original voice of Dick Dastardly. Was there elements of that character that you brought to this and then combined it with something unique?
Well, the thing about Paul Winchell's Dick Dastardly is that it was utterly brilliant and unforgettable. And so there was no point trying to do anything in that universe. I had to either reinvent it completely or walk away. But luckily, I think Dick Dastardly in the movie is so different from Dick in the cartoons. Because the cartoons, he's a pathetic, whinging, whining loser right from the first syllable. And it takes a while to get to quite how pathetic and whinging and whining I am in the movie. He is, at first, certainly for a while, he's winning and he's scary and he's a genius. He's also a narcissistic lunatic and an egomaniac and his own best audience, in fact, his own only audience. So he's a bunch of stuff that character wasn't.
Join me, Scooby Doo, and I will show you how to harness your destiny and become the most important dog in the world.
Kiersey, Dee Dee has a very interesting backstory and history in terms of being part of the Teen Angels and paired up with Captain Caveman. And Mutt was kind of a bumbling sidekick, but now they've both kind of had this glow up where they're the only ones holding the Blue Falcon Empire together.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that reversal in dynamics.
Yeah, it's interesting. They are their personalities, meaning Dee Dee and Dynamite, their personalities really complement each other. It takes two to keep Blue Falcon on track. And I think as much as they could probably do it alone, together, it allows them to keep him on track and save Scooby and Shaggy.
Gentlemen, welcome aboard. I'm Dee Dee Skies, pilot of the Falcon Fury.
Yeah, we're kind of Blue Falcon's parents, if you will. We really were just kind of like taking turns monitoring because Blue Falcon would just be off, just doing certain things, or whether it be the balloons that he'd get upset with Dee Dee about, like on his intro music.
Hang on. Turn on the lights. Where are my balloons, Dee Dee? When I say Falcon Fury, that's supposed to cue the balloons. Oh, great timing.
It was really fun to kind of play the parents to Mark Wahlberg. That was just and knowing Mark and working with him in the past, he just is so funny. And once they told me Blue Falcon was Mark Wahlberg, I literally laughed. I said, that's so funny. And I just know he crushes it in the movie. He's so good. He's really good in this. I'm so excited.
I read that when Matthew Lillard plays Shaggy, that he used to scream himself hoarse to get the rasp in his voice to be able to do the Shaggy character. Were there any tricks that you used to be able to portray that up and down squeaky voice situation?
It's so funny because I was concerned because I'm not a great impersonator, and I said, well, what if I don't know if I can do this voice, and they said, oh, don't worry, it doesn't need to be an impersonation. So I definitely watched a bunch of Casey Kasem stuff and Matthew Lillard stuff, and they were both great at it. And I actually was like, oh yeah, I got to get that rasp in there, but I don't have rasp in my voice. And especially when I can sometimes like fake a rasp or get a rasp in there if I go really low. But when I go really, really high, the rasp leaves. So it's, and so much of trying to do the character is trying to get up to that place where your voice breaks.
Yeah.
It's a real tricky thing. And it's easy to say, tough to do. It's hard not to overthink it. This is, one of the most iconic voices there is. And you certainly know how connected people are to the character and to the show, and you want to do a good job for them. So it was a true honor, but also at the same time very stressful.
I had wondered because Casey Kasem had done the original voice, I wondered if you had a Casey Kasem in your repertoire from like Groundling days or SNL, if that was ever a character you did.
I mean, he was such a part of life as a person born in 1970. His top 40 of her name was Susan and his name was Chuck. I don't know. I guess
a long distance dedication.
Long distance dedication, and here we go.
Well, I wondered in terms of doing the Shaggy voice, because I know especially like people who are bad at impressions have like gateway words that they use to get into it, like, put another shrimp on the barbie, and then you've got your Australian accent down. Did you have a gateway phrase that got you into Shaggy? Like something you would say?
Well, there was some line that something about like 6 or 7 sandwiches.
Nailed it.
I just needed, I forget what it is, but I recorded it, and so of course you would do it, and then the voice would, the little breakings would be around in the same places, but then it just sometimes with lines that weren't those exact words, it's, then you gotta, I don't know, it was an interesting challenge, it was tough.
You've played so many iconic villains, including our friend here, Mr. Lucius Malfoy.
Hey, there I am. I modeled for 6 months for that thing.
Did you?
It's incredible, don't you think?
It's uncanny.
It's a scale as well.
But, you're so good at it, and I don't know if you take that as a compliment that you're so good at being bad, but what makes...
I don't really take it as a compliment at all, only because I've played hundreds of parts, and the ones that I've got any praise for or attention for are the ones that were brilliantly written. So Lucius Malfoy is a character in J.K. Rowling's incredible saga spread over 7 books, in which every character is at least 3-dimensional and unforgettable. Dick Dastardly's been around for 50 years. My job is just to get in there and not blow it. So I'm as good as the material. This material is brilliant. The movie is incredibly uplifting and incredibly moving, and just works. You know, Scooby Doo and the Mystery Inc. family work. Everybody sees themselves in there somewhere, and this takes it to a new level. So I just hope I haven't dropped the ball so that the next generation can enjoy it.
One of the things I love about animated movies is that they often ask the actors, especially when there's like these action scenes, as many as there are, and your characters have many of them, to do grunts or screams or various noises.
Voila, as they say in the biz.
Can you remember any of the bizarre things you were asked to do for this?
Well, because I'm the pilot of the Falcon Fury, I am driving the giant contraption that we all get around in. So I did a lot of efforts. And at the time, I didn't even really know what it looked like, what it did. Sometimes they're like, you guys are spinning all around. And I'm like, okay, whatever that sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, Walla is my least favorite thing in an animated movie. I love being in character, finding the flow, finding the right voice. But at the very end, when you're exhausted, all right, Ken, time for the sounds. Okay, pretend you're falling down 3 feet. Like, whoa. And they're like, you call that 3 feet? That's more like a 1 foot drop. Do it again. Whoa! Now that's falling 12 feet. Can you split the difference, idiot? Okay. Whoa. You know,
perfect.
It's so hard to do. Like, you know, act thoughtful. All right. Don't make fun of the viewer, Ken. Just act thoughtful, please. Now you're being sarcastic, Ken. All right, just stop it. You know, there's a lot of. It's so hard to do those grunts and sounds. It's really, really hard, you know, to get the nuances that they want.
I get lightheaded.
Yeah.
I get lightheaded.
Ken, play lightheaded. Whoa. You know what? As Dynamite, really, Dynamite's going to be lightheaded like that? You really think he has positional vertigo going, whoa.
For as dastardly as Dick Dastardly is, we do see that he has a soft spot for someone in his life. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship?
Well, the thing about Dick is he doesn't know himself that well. What great characters on screen do is they light something up in the audience where we understand them more than they understand themselves. He thinks he's a greedy, selfish, amoral, monstrous supervillain. And we watch him, we know something else is at play. And that's when drama really works.
Mm-hmm. You know, we've seen so many iterations of Scooby over the years. He has such a long history with Scooby and Shaggy and the Mystery Inc. gang. What is it about this movie that sets it apart, and what makes it special to you?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, very obviously one of the things that is most exciting to me is the origin story part of it, where you get to see how Shaggy and Scooby met for the first time. That's really cool. And there's a lot, you know, there's so much in this movie. It's very sweet. It's very funny. And just there are so many characters from that Hanna-Barbera universe that are part of this thing that you like. When I first saw this, it was like, oh, that's right. That's Hanna-Barbera too. And it's so exciting. There's so many characters, and some that I haven't seen in a long time. So it's really fun to see them all together interacting.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I loved the movie. It was a real joy, and I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
Appreciate you, David.
Thank you so much.
Very much. It was great talking to you.
Thanks a lot.
All right, take care.
Because you can't get to the theater, we're bringing the theater home to you with Xfinity Movie Premiere.
Hello, Mystery Inc. I have a missing person to report.
This is about one of us.
Our brand new service that lets you watch all the latest movie releases from the comfort of home. SCOOB, available now.
I'd like to shake the hand of whoever created this.
Finished?
Ow!
Just say Xfinity Movie Premiere into your voice remote to bring the theater to you.